So let me get into the Planned Parenthood aspect of this, because Donald Trump was talking about defunding Planned Parenthood if he, enters his second term, and I'm 100% for that. I agree. I want to defund Planned Parenthood because I don't think that the taxpayers should be paying for something that is against our religious freedom. I think that it is against the First Amendment to be doing that. And you can give me the argument of, oh, Planned Parenthood only uses 3.4% of the funds for abortions. Great, but then that number is going to go up significantly in the next 10 years, and I am 100% sure of that because we are lessening the image of what an abortion is. Let me play a clip right now for you about the abortion process. I was scrolling on Instagram and I found it, and I think that part of it's going to be interesting to watch. So play the clip.
Look at it. You're going to feel it's a heavy clamp, and there are rows of sharp teeth. This is a grasping instrument. When it gets a hold of something, it does not let go. A D&E abortion, a second trimester D&E abortion, is a blind procedure. You can't see anything. It's all done by feel. So picture yourself, and I'm serious, picture yourself putting this up through the uterus. Be really careful, because the walls are thin and soft, and it is easy as pie to go right through them. Then grasp with the instrument. Grab hold of anything you can. You can't see what you're doing, just grab something. And feel yourself pulling, and I mean hard. And out pops a leg that big, which you put down on the table. Reach in again. Grab blindly. Pull hard. Out comes an arm the same length, which you put down on the table. And reach in with this instrument again and again and tear out the spine, the intestines, and the heart and lungs. Now, the head on a baby that size is about the size of a plum. And again, you can't see it. You have a pretty good idea you're there if you've got a hold of something and your fingers are spread as far as they'll go. You know you did it right if you crush down on the clamp and white material runs out of the cervix. That was the baby's brains. Now you can pull out skull pieces. You have a bad day like I had a lot of times. Sometimes a little face comes back and stares back at you. Congratulations. You just successfully performed a second trimester D&E abortion. You just affirmed her right to choose. You just made $800 cash in 15 minutes.
As you just saw, I think that is the reason why I'm pro-life, because it is so graphic to hear about where, he takes the clamps and he crunches the head and then it all just spills out, right? And you assemble the body after you're finished with the abortion. And I don't know, why people think that it's okay, and people think that going in abortion is just a clump of cells. And I'm going to actually debunk all three of those, myths about what you think an abortion is. But before we get into that, let me just continue about my Planned Parenthood rant. Before we go any further, I want to say that this video is sponsored by ballerhoodies.com. Baller Hoodies is a great pro-Trump, right-leaning merch website. Please, if you're ever going to look for a mask, a hoodie, a new t-shirt, a new jacket, please go ahead and click on the link in the description below to go to ballerhoodies.com. Order your next right-leaning merch off of their website, ballerhoodies.com. When you give money to Planned Parenthood, sure, it's only 3.4% of abortions are caused, or 3.4% of the funds are actually going towards abortion, but then also you have 23% that are going to contraception, 27% that are going to contraception, which is, birth control, condoms, things like that. And I apologize for talking about such like a deep topic, but it needs to be addressed. You're funding, because here's what's up with Planned Parenthood. I watched a video, I think it was by Abby Johnson. If I find the video, it'll be playing with us. But I watched the video, and it talks about how Planned Parenthood wants at least every single female to have 3 abortions before she enters, her adulthood. The first one is, middle school. The second one is in high school, and the third one is in college. Because what happens is they basically come to you when you're in kindergarten. They speak about, okay, you can't touch me there, you can't touch me there. Basic things for kindergartners. You can't touch them in the private genitalia. And then they come into middle school and say, you know what, I was there for you when you were a young kid. You can trust me. Don't tell your parents. You can trust me. And sorry to go off the topic, but why is it okay for my child to go and get an abortion at school, but not for them to give her a Tylenol or an Advil, right? Because it happened in Oregon or another state. I apologize if I misspoke, but it happened where a young girl goes to school. She hops on the bus, goes to school, goes to the nurse's office, says she's pregnant. The nurse says, it's okay, we won't tell your parents. And this is all legal. This is all legal. She can go get an abortion to Planned Parenthood service, come back to school, go back home on the same bus, and then go back to home as if, and I don't know anything about it. Why is that okay, right? What are we teaching our kids that it's okay to have an abortion? It's not okay to have an abortion under any circumstance. So as I was saying, like the first abortion in middle school, the second abortion in high school, and then third abortion in college, when you can't have a baby while you're studying for your master's program. It's impossible. You can't do it. And that's how they win. They tell you you can't do something, and then the entire narrative is you can't do it. So you have to fall into their crevice. You have to fall into their belief system that you can't make it. It's difficult. You won't do it. You'll fail, and then you get an abortion number 3. And Planned Parenthood already makes its money back because of the taxpayers' funding, where it's like a couple $1 billion. So let's talk about debunking the abortion myths, because I know a lot of individuals are like, wow, okay, you're just talking about abortion, why it's not right, but you're not actually debunking it. So let me tell you why I don't agree with being pro-choice. And I'm actually going to reference my own website. Because obviously as an entrepreneur, I want my thing to grow. So we're going to reference the university, the abortion. So if you want to go check that out, is thepoliticaldropout.com. If not, I'm going to have it up on the screen anyway. So thepoliticaldropout.com, the university of a 2-minute argument about abortion. The first argument is my body, so it's my choice. And here is where I see the flaws in it, right? If it was your body, would you have, 4 arms, 4 legs, 4 eyes, 20 toes, things like that, right? You wouldn't have that because it's not your body, it's 2 bodies. Sure, the body is inside of you, but it is another body inside of you. It's not a clump of cells, and we're going to get to that in a second. It's not, it is inside of you, so it is another body. And the other thing about it is, like, if the baby relies on the mother for support while in the womb, it is still its own body. It's the same thing with someone that's in a coma, someone that is does not have a level of consciousness, I guess you can say. Would you unplug the cord on someone that is in a coma, that is on life support? I would not do it personally. Maybe you would, but that depends. The second argument that a lot of liberals like to bring up is that the fetus is not a human being, it's a clump of cells. And I totally disagree with this point because let's just look at the basic biology of it. On day 1, I believe that any abortion after day 1 should be illegal. It's not right. It's the murder of a human being, whether it be this big, whether it be the size of your entire hand, whether it be the width of your hand. It's not right. So basically, from the first week to the 20th week, it grows to be about this big, the size of your hand. The first week to the 12th week, I believe, is about the width of your hand. So you're going to tell me that on day 1 in conception, okay, day 7, it's implanted in the mother's uterus, the baby is there. On day 18, the baby's heart begins to beat. And by day 18, you just find out that you're pregnant. So by the time you find out that you're pregnant, you already know that the baby's heart is beating. It's pumping its own blood. Then 10 days later, it's, developing a respiratory system, digestive system. And then at the 20th week, the baby has hair on its head. So by the time it's this big, as the size of your hand, as I mentioned earlier, the baby has hair on its head. And here I included a quote from a pro-choice atheist philosopher, Dr. Peter Singer. There is no doubt that from the first moments of its existence, an embryo conceived from human sperm and eggs is a human being. Ignoring this would be to ignore science. And that's directly quoted from someone that's atheist as well as a pro-choice individual. Why do you think that all these obstetricians, I believe, the term for an abortion doctor, and it's funny how, I'll talk about doctor in a second, abortion individual, they all started out as pro-choice, but they all end up being pro-life, only because they see what happens. After they murder and kill so many babies, it's just how many more can I do? And it's funny how people say abortion clinic, abortion doctor. Clinics are supposed to help individuals, not physically and mentally tarnish them. And doctors are supposed to heal and help, but they don't. An abortion obstetrician is someone that really just harms and just kills. And the best claim that I can have is, the baby inside of your womb, the fetus is not a human being. Well, didn't the white slave owners say that African Americans weren't human beings during slavery times? But there were the Northerners who were fighting to be anti-slavery. They were fighting for a free America, right? And that's like the pro-life movement. Weren't the Nazis saying that the Jews were not human beings, right? And only they realized so long after that they were being brainwashed by the Nazi propaganda, the same way the Democrat propaganda is brainwashing the left currently. And then argument number 3 is that I don't want to bring a hated child into this world. This is the most popular argument because when the liberals lose argument number 1 about my body, my choice, they go to argument number 2 where it's like, it's not even a human being. So they go to argument number 3 when they lose both of those, and they're about to lose. If they're versing, you know, myself or anyone else in an abortion argument, they're going to lose about argument number 3 because I don't want to bring a hated child into this world. The number one reason why I think that it's hard to have a baby during this time is because the liberal media tells you it's difficult. The liberal media tells you that it's hard to have a baby when you're in college, when you're in high school, but in reality it's not. It really isn't. I personally don't think so, and you know, according to the Women's Care Center of Erie County, the average price to prevent an abortion is $3,000. You know, the reason that the child might be hated is because of financial burden, but once the obstacles are overcome, pure love overcomes the parents and the baby. See, if I was the president and I could make the ruling as to what I think about abortion, I would instill a law that is like, okay, the abortion is illegal, but if you do go through with the baby, the government will grant you XYZ amount of funds for having that baby. So this way, you know, no babies are murdered, and the healthcare system is already paying so much money out of pocket. So you might as well help these women who are, you know, it's difficult. Obviously, I don't know how it would be processed, but the main regimen of it is that if a baby is born, you know, the female will get some sort of help. I mean, if you want to debunk those claims a little bit more, I guess what you can do is go to politicaldropout.com and go to the university, and you can look about the abortion and, you know, those arguments. But in all honesty, that's the basic explanation as to why I disagree with abortion, why I think I am, you know, why I am pro-life no matter what, why I am not pro-choice, and I don't think I ever will be, because if I had a daughter and she was pregnant, I would have her do the baby. If I had a girlfriend and she was pregnant, I would also have her do the baby. And you know, and this is the topic that we're not discussing enough in our schools, because our schools are so liberal. Colleges, high schools, they're so liberal, right? We brainwash these kids into believing that they can't do something when in reality they can. We brainwash these kids into believing that murder is okay as long as it's not your body, quote unquote. Tell me why it's okay for a 14-year-old girl to be dancing to WAP by Cardi B, which means wet ass, you know, blank word, on air, on TikTok, and then she gets millions of likes for that. Why is that okay? In what world is that okay? Not in my America, but I guess it's in your America. Not in Donald Trump's America, at least. It's not going to be happening in that. So, you know, TikTok's great and all. I enjoy looking at TikToks. I enjoy the platform of TikTok, but my individual problem with it is that it's so toxic and it's so sexualizing of our young females and males. Did you enjoy this video? If so, give us a thumbs up on our channel, subscribe down below, and it would mean the world if you can go on our website, find an article that you like, share it with a friend, help grow our name, The Political Dropout, on thepoliticaldropout.com, so we can bring you more content like this. Now don't be afraid to go watch some more videos.